The beef between Katt Williams and Steve Harvey is one of the most entertaining ongoing feuds in comedy. But most people think it started with the Club Shay Shay interview in 2024. According to reports from industry insiders, and based on what Samuel L. Jackson has said publicly about the two men, this rivalry goes back much further. And the reason Steve Harvey gets visibly uncomfortable whenever Katt Williams is in the room has nothing to do with the interview. It has everything to do with what happened at the 2008 Championship of Comedy in Detroit, in front of 10,000 people, and what it revealed about who the better comedian actually is. Today we go through the full documented story. The 2017 Def Comedy Jam moment that started people paying attention. The 2008 showdown that started everything else. The joke theft allegations against Cedric the Entertainer. The Bernie Mac story that DJ Ed Lover confirmed. And why Dave Chappelle gave Katt his flowers in a room where Steve Harvey and Cedric sat noticeably uncomfortable. Let's get into it. In 2017, Def Comedy Jam celebrated its 25th anniversary. The stage was filled with some of the biggest names in black comedy. Dave Chappelle was there. Steve Harvey was there. Cedric the Entertainer was there. Katt Williams was in the audience. During the evening, Dave Chappelle gave Katt Williams his flowers, acknowledging him from the stage, redirecting the room's attention to a comedian who deserved recognition. Watch what Steve Harvey did. His first response, before Chappelle even finished, was to say he was nervous. Specifically, nervous that Katt Williams might show up.
Def Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
I'm nervous as hell right now.
Then, when Chappelle kept the spotlight on Katt, Harvey tried again. But let me ask you this. When have you ever seen this many heavy hitters all together at the same time in the same room? Redirecting. Twice. While Dave Chappelle was specifically celebrating someone else, Cedric co-signed it. Yeah, simple but unmistakable. Industry insiders who were present and who have spoken about it since described that moment as revealing. They felt the room belonged to Katt Williams, and two of the biggest names in comedy couldn't let it. Samuel L. Jackson, who has been in enough industry rooms to know exactly what he's watching, has spoken about why Steve Harvey reacts that way to Katt Williams. According to Jackson's account, the answer comes from something that happened 9 years before that Def Comedy Jam moment. In 2008, Steve Harvey and Katt Williams were both performing at what was billed as the Championship of Comedy in Detroit, in front of 10,000 people. The show was not officially framed as a head-to-head competition, but Katt Williams decided to make it one. He goaded Harvey into a face-off on stage, and then he took him apart. The centerpiece was Harvey's haircut. Steve Harvey's high-top fade was arguably his most recognizable physical feature, the thing young black men across America envied and tried to replicate. And Katt Williams, in front of 10,000 people, revealed what was underneath it. Harvey was bald. The famous hairline was a wig. Now, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with being bald. Plenty of men are. But the image Harvey had carefully maintained, the confidence he projected, the thing that was part of his brand, Katt exposed it on stage in the most public way possible. And according to Katt Williams himself, that night broke Steve Harvey's stand-up career.
Stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people.
Harvey eventually dropped the wig and went clean-shaven, which Katt has pointed out as confirmation that his words landed. Today, Harvey presents his bald head with confidence, but he stopped doing stand-up after that night and never came back to it. If that's accurate, and the timeline supports it, indeed, quote, then every time Steve Harvey is in the same room as Katt Williams, he is in the same room as the man who ended that chapter of his career. That's why he's nervous. That's what Samuel L. Jackson was pointing at. Cedric the Entertainer's discomfort with Katt Williams has a different origin, and Katt laid it out in full detail during the Club Shay Shay interview. The allegation is specific. In 1998, Katt was performing what he describes as his best joke, his closing joke, the one that always killed. He had performed it twice on BET's Comic View. The network loved it so much they used it in their commercial for the following season. Cedric came to the Comedy Store to watch Katt perform. He came backstage afterward and told Katt how much he loved the joke specifically. 2 years later, Cedric performed that joke verbatim as his closing bit in Kings of Comedy. The only change was that Katt's car became a spaceship.
This is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke, and it's my closing joke, Williams continued. 1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy, and he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship.
Katt's description of Cedric after this is harsh, calling him a walrus with no talent, pointing out that his 4 comedy specials are not available on Netflix or YouTube. But the underlying allegation is specific and dated. Here is where the story gets heavier. Because Katt Williams' allegations about Steve Harvey don't stop at joke theft or spotlight stealing. He claims Harvey actively worked against Bernie Mac. His specific allegation that Harvey, Cedric, and others positioned Bernie Mac as the opening act in Kings of Comedy because they believed Harvey was the funniest. During editing, the producers moved Bernie Mac's set to the closing position because it was the most powerful performance. Harvey's alleged plan to keep Bernie in a supporting role backfired. Katt also alleges Harvey called production companies trying to steal roles that belonged to Bernie, including Ocean's 11. This would be pure he said if someone else hadn't confirmed it. DJ Ed Lover, a veteran New York radio personality and longtime friend of Bernie Mac, went on record corroborating Katt's account.
The stuff that Katt Williams said about Steve Harvey calling to try to get Bernie's role on Ocean's 11 and that kind of stuff, Bernie told me out of his own mouth, the New York native said. I believe Bernie Mac when he said Steve Harvey hated on him.
Bernie Mac told him personally. That is not Katt Williams making things up. That is a named, credible third party confirming the same account from the man himself. Steve Harvey and Cedric are not the only comedians who have made these allegations. Mark Curry, the veteran comedian best known for hanging with Mr. Cooper, went public with his own joke theft claim against Harvey. Curry described getting a phone call from a friend telling him to turn on the TV. When he did, Harvey was performing a Halloween joke, the same Halloween joke Curry had done in his 1999 Comedy Central special, about growing up without money and having to wear strange costumes on Halloween. Harvey denied it. He challenged Curry to produce evidence. Fans dug up both sets and compared them. The similarities were significant.
Take the Steve Harvey thing. It's a B move, Curry said. Maybe he's not stealing my material, you know? I maybe give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe one of his writers did it. But they know, we all know, whose material it is. It ain't about the money, he said. Harvey got enough money, so it looked like you want some of me. You want to be me. Therefore, you ain't got enough money. I look at it like that's all right, boy. I'm a G in the game. You want to be me. You want my style.
And Katt Williams connected the dots further, pointing out that Harvey's TV show, The Steve Harvey Show, appeared to be modeled after Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Both shows center on a man transitioning from his passion career into teaching. The setup is nearly identical. According to Katt, Harvey even copied Curry's high-top fade haircut for the show, the same haircut that was later revealed to be a wig. Here is the full picture. In 2008, Katt Williams beat Steve Harvey in a comedy battle in front of 10,000 people. And Harvey never did stand up again. In 2017, Harvey couldn't let a room celebrate Katt Williams without redirecting the spotlight to himself. Twice. On the same night, Cedric co-signed him. Cedric took Katt's best joke, word for word, and performed it as his own closing bit in one of the most watched comedy specials of that era. Harvey allegedly worked against Bernie Mac behind the scenes, something Bernie told DJ Ed Lover personally before his death. And Harvey is documented by multiple comedians, including Mark Curry as someone who has lifted other people's material. Dave Chappelle saw all of it. And at Def Comedy Jam 25, he gave Katt his flowers anyway, in a room where 2 of the men with the most reason to be afraid of him sat visibly uncomfortable. Samuel L. Jackson saw it too. And what he said about why they're afraid of Katt is simple. He's just the better comedian, and they know it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.